Okay. Okay. So right. So we have a go ahead. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's ceremony of giving away the Srishti Digilife Unsung Srishti Digilife Grant for Photography 2021 to Menti Jameer. Uh, the grant is 2 years old. We started last year, and this grant is being given to a documentary photographer, whether it's classical documentary, personal documentary, that doesn't matter. Uh, to this is once a year. This is a what we call a no strings attached grant, in the sense the grantee doesn't have to produce any work. It's not for any project. It's just to help the awardee to further her or his practice as they deem fit. Uh, the process is that we nominate 3 to 4 photographers, and an independent jury, a panel of jury, selects the winner. So last year we had Zazo from Nagaland, Kohima. He won the award, and this year Menti has won the award. Zazo's work was the kind of a magical quality of his documentary work of his own people, of his Naga brothers and sisters, the daily life, the kind of a magical realism that it has. That's the reason he won the award. And this year we selected, the jury selected Menti because of her lyrical, poetic quality that we have seen. I saw her work first on Instagram, and quite taken up by, was really, really impressed with the quality of the work. And she was one of the 4 photographers who were nominated, others being Vivek Ramalingam, Paramita Chatterjee, and Kugatashi from different parts of India. And finally, the award has been given to Menti. We were hoping, last year the award was given in person in Bangalore, though Vijay was unable to make it from Singapore as the lockdowns were just beginning to come in force due to the COVID situation. We did manage to give it in person at a very small ceremony at Srishti Digilife office in Bangalore in 2020. We were hoping to get Menti down to Bangalore and call a few photographers and other creative people uh, and have a small cozy ceremony, warm ceremony. But unfortunately, we are unable to do that. So instead of delaying it, we decided to go ahead on via Zoom itself. The next best option that we have, and so we have Menti here, we have Dinesh and Sudhir Ramachandran as well, Raj Lalwani. We are hoping that the other member of the jury, Lina Vincent, would join us too from Goa. Uh, I hope she does. She did say that she would be. She's not been able to come in yet. Uh, so I would like to. I'll come back to in a bit to talk to Menti about her work and to Dinesh about the process of judging. Uh, so to start off, I would like to call upon Vijay, who is the head of CEO of uh, Srishti Digilife, uh, to say a few words about the grant, about his thoughts, and about the current situation and how photographers are coping up with that. Vijay.
Thank you, Mahesh. Um, I think I'll take a few minutes because for me to talk about this grant, and I really would like to go a little bit back in my history of Srishti. So first of all, anyway, thank you, welcome everyone, and I thank Mahesh actually to making me and Srishti part of this beautiful cause. The special thanks to Dinesh Kanahia and Lena Vincent for being the jury, and I know the amount of time they took to go through each of the nominees as so challenging because each of them are brilliant in the way that they put up their work. So thanks to them again, and thank you Shudir for being part of this beautiful cause every year since the inception of this grant 2 years ago, I think. And also thank you Raj for joining in today. So I think I would like to talk to you about Srishti and why Srishti and what is Srishti. I think because a lot of people know Srishti as just a distribution of equipments, and some people even ask on our Instagram pages and all that, what is Srishti? What do you guys do? Are you an agency? Are you a agency which gives work to photographers and all that? So I would really like to go a little bit back on my days. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, I think, and I when I finished my entrepreneurship uh, way back, and I was working for a imaging distribution company in Singapore. So we were distributing Nikon cameras and Konica films and Noritsu machines. That's how it all started. And major part of my life I actually spent a time in Indochina, which includes Vietnam, Cambodia, and then I was based out of Durban, taking care of the eastern bloc of Africa, which includes Kenya, Mozambique, Ethiopia, and all these cities, countries rather. And I moved also into Central Asia, taking care of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and all this. When I said taking care, I think I've extensively traveled in each of these locations, and that's how I got this connect into the photographic world rather. But at some point in time, I really wanted to do something for our own country in India, and I really wanted to come back, and that's how Srishti idea of Srishti came in 2007. I started this company in Chennai. I still remember we were just about two people when I started the organization, nobody else, and we were just distributing some small imaging accessory brands of Tokina lenses and all that. But over the years, more than just distributing these products, um, I really did not find a connect in the way I was doing business. In fact, so so if you look at Srishti handles all the way from tripods to lights to bags to backdrops, and even we brought back films, paper, chemicals, and all that just for the love of that art. So with all this in place, our only intent was to deliver the best of products to the industry. The fundamental foundational purpose I would think is is always been to further the visual literacy and serve the visual communicators in actually furthering and their journey and also to create the finest of images. That has always been my dream rather, and I really wanted to step out of that stigma of just being box movers. So that's how we the idea grew up. And I also wanted to aid the entire Indian photo industry to grow and flourish. Now, now it's always been my dream. I talk to a lot of people. I keep telling them, you know, I wanted to see a lot of the young, talented artists on a global level, and I still dream about it. And I'm sure India has so many talents, and if each one of us help them out in channelizing it in a better manner, I'm sure there'll be a lot of talents that come out from India. So a lot of times in Singapore, my own friends ask me, being in a distribution environment, what is that one thing that sets Srishti apart, right? So I've also been thinking about it all the time. What can I do? What are we rather? So so I think we believe that being the support system of the community of visual storytellers, we believe in that education is a key in order for the photography community and the industry as a whole to move forward, right? So we want to engage the audience, right? So Srishti has been engaging this for the last 3 4 years. If you look at it, we keep bringing in a lot of experts across the globe to come and teach the right methods and techniques regarding the creation of images, and also introduce the community with the right tools that may be necessary to create such images. So, and also we keep giving, motivating and keep giving a lot of giveaways, completely keeping the community engaged. And that's exactly what we've even been doing during the COVID times as well, right? And that's how that's has been our pursuit, and we will continue that journey. And in fact, being in a distribution firm, we also find that there is an innovation process that we also that plays a crucial role at Srishti. Actually, we essentially invest in technology, and we transform that process. Like if you look at the way that we started our website very recently, and we are trying to work a lot more things on our website and try to communicate a lot more things, channelize a lot more things through our website. Actually, we've been brainstorming it, and it is a very steep Herculean task. We are trying to bring a lot of new ideas as an innovation, as a process of innovation that we try and do ourselves. So my dream is to ensure that Srishti becomes a go-to brands in the market. I really would love that. We want Srishti as a household name in the community and beyond. It is a Herculean task. If you look at the simple thing of going and teaching a photographer why he needs to hold a good a tripod like Manfrotto, when he invests a large portion of his saving in buying a camera. If you look at the Sony camera, it's almost cost about 2 lakhs. And they don't realize that the tripod legs can break and you can break the camera, right? So I think the knowledge sharing has to begin from as simple as telling them why a good tripod. So of course, I think it's a challenge, and we will try and do our best at it. And with all this in place, I think we do all this for a purpose, right? As a company, we want to be profitable, and that's why we go through so much struggle. Now, if you look at even at profitability of Srishti, we also view that a little differently. Why? Because the more profitable we are, we believe to give away and share that lot of our profits back to our own employees first, and then to the society. And that is how the idea of the CSR projects came in place for Srishti. Now, as a part of our many CSR projects we do, where we fund education for many underprivileged children across India. We've been doing this since the inception. Since 2007, I've been doing this. We have close to about 40 50 children year on year getting educated, and we pay their school fees across India. And we also aim, so that again, coming back to this particular project, and I must thank Mahesh for sounding me this idea and making me a part of this. So we also aim to continue the CSR project to help support artists, especially in the field of documentary photography. I mean, people can ask why documentary, because we believe in encouraging them, as not many are successful in spending their time to pursue these projects, because the reality is it's not lucrative, right? And that is why we came in and we chose this field to support. We don't want the world to miss out some amazing talents like Menti here, and hence this pursuit to help the deserving artists will continue for a very long time to come, and I really sincerely pray for that. And I'm sure all these artists will one day make us all proud with their storytelling. We will be a support to make their dreams a reality for sure. And with this, last one more thing, I really wanted to say this. We also run another CSR initiative with a small hashtag called Create with Srishti, where we nurture and motivate talents across India and across genres. So to simply use a hashtag, and their work will be featured, and we also give them the winning artist award of $2,000 cash. That, in fact, that is coming, by the way, in August, 1 year, and we will be doing the first Create with Srishti grant of 2,000 US dollars that is continuing. And there is also another beautiful initiative that we started off on Women's Day, where we also have another hashtag called with Women with Srishti. So we did a Women's Day contest and we gave away a mirrorless camera, but I don't want it to end there. Now I'm constantly requesting and sharing to all the women artists to come forward to use the hashtags, because that is also going to fetch a surprising cash award to any one of this women art deserving women artists. So that's about it, and nothing more from me. Thanks once again, and I think congratulations again to Menti. Having said that, I think whether it is Kunga Tashi or Vivek or Paromita, they all are winners. They all are amazing artists. I'm sure something is in store for them. Wishing them the best for them, and thank you once again, Mahesh. Over to you back. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Vijay. And I must tell everybody who's watching, others, that it was I was I too work at an art institute called Srishti Manipal Institute of Art Design and Technology. I was at my studio. We were busy setting up at photographic darkroom, which we got everything from Srishti Digilife. So he and his team came to visit us, and then I was sitting and working on this grant, and then he looked at it and said, "What are you?" Asked me about the details, and when I told him this, and he was like immediately said that Srishti Digilife would be a part of it and sponsor the grant. So that was very nice, and thank you for being generous and being even without me having to ask. You came forward to offer that, and that is great. Thank you very much,
No,
Vijay.
one more thing I wanted to add, Mahesh. I think right now it is with only one grant we are doing it, and I'm sure in the days to come, with better days, hope for better days, we will increase the number of people in the grant, and I'm really sincerely hoping for that. Thank you.
Likewise, yeah. So, at the Menti, I'm going to talk to you a little bit, talk to you about your photography. Don't worry, it's about your work, so I guess it'll be easy. So after that, we symbolically give away the award, and then a couple of words with Dinesh, and then with Sudhir, to wrap up the evening. So, Menti, tell me. I believe your education was in Delhi. I think your higher education. You did a post graduation in language English, was it right?
So I have a business degree. I have a business degree in marketing and finance, postgraduate.
Okay.
And
So
then,
again, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and then I worked in digital marketing for 3.5 years before
Okay.
I started pursuing photography full time.
Okay. So how did that happen? How did the shift from digital marketing to photography?
Yeah, so before that, when I was so I think, for people like, for like, say, for people like me who comes from small town, it is very difficult for us to get even access to, say, like, to know that, okay, one can pursue photography as a profession, or to get access to art, or to get access to this kind of a platform. So I got to know, like, okay, about introduced to photography after I came to Delhi. And then that was in 2013. And then after that, I started taking interest in photography, and then I started like going out photographing and all of that. And by that time I was like, doing my post graduation, and then I started working. And later on, I worked in this particular corporate job for like 2-3 months, and it was really exhausting. Like, I would come home and I would like cry over the weekend because I had to go to work on Monday, and it was like I was getting anxiety attacks. I was getting really anxious. So I think I left the job, and then I wasn't sure what I want to do. So I just took a break for a couple of months, and I was thinking, okay, like, I can go back to a job easily, go back to a job, like but then I realized that I actually want to do photography. Like, I want to tell stories. I want to do this. So I actually didn't go back to a job, and then I just decided to do this full time. And I had no contacts, I had no help from my family, and I couldn't even tell my family that I'm doing this full time because they don't support me doing this. And yeah, it it started out like that.
Right. So that must have been difficult the initial days, right?
Yeah.
So
I actually didn't know where to find work, where to go, and yeah, it was difficult.
so how did you manage that? How were those days?
I don't know. I mean, I kept producing work. I kept photographing my friends. I would go, like, so I was going through this very difficult phase where I left the job. I didn't know what to do. So I would go to the parks in Delhi for like almost every day. And I would just look at people, I would photograph them. It was like an outlet for me to go there, sit, look at people, walk around, and then I would make work there, or I would photograph my close friends. So I just kept doing that for 1-2 years, and then slowly, like, and then when I go home, I would make work. And because I can't go home all the time, so like I would go home like once in a year. So when I go home, I would make work at home.
Yeah, we have
So
seen. Sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
we have
yeah.
seen
So
quite a bit of that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that kept happening.
yeah. So how? I mean, you have developed a very interesting style of work, which is, as I said earlier, very poetic, lyrical. It doesn't, you know, it has no, what do you call it? It's a free flowing, So how did you develop that style? I mean, what were your influences, and how did that happen?
So I think growing up, we had no phones. We didn't have, so we had television that we can, like, we had a cable thing, but we had no phone. We had no access to any kind of digital system. So I think growing up, I would always be out playing, you know I would go to the farms with my father. I would go to the garden with my father. Like, he would take me to the farms. He'll take me swimming. He'll take me to the garden. He'll take me to. So I would follow my father all the time, and then I would be out all the time playing with my friends, or with my brothers. So I grew up with my brothers. So I think that had a lot of influence on how I photograph as well, because I have always been out in the nature. You know, I've experienced a lot of things in the nature and just going about doing things and not being like hooked up to a screen. So I think that has had a lot of influence in how I see and how I create.
Right. I think, of course, the northeastern India is so beautiful. All I mean, Nagaland. I've not been to Mokokchung, but I've, the wherever I have been, I've just the nature has been absolutely beautiful. And I remember speaking in Konoma, with the priest who was a teacher also in the local school, and he told me that the children, given half a chance, they would get out of the class and run to the forest nearby. So I think. The forest is in your blood, so to speak, in your everything, in your
Yeah,
DNA,
yeah.
right. So I think that's we see a lot of that influence in your work. I think that comes through. So you do you do a bit of quite a bit of fashion work, is it, Minty, as on the commercial front of things?
Yeah, so whenever I get work, like whenever brands come to me, I do a little bit of fashion. So I think fashion is one thing that, you know, I can also relate to, and where I can also create something that is in my imagination, you know, like things I have seen as a kid, or things I've experienced uh, during my childhood. Like I can recreate those imaginations, I can recreate those scenes in fashion, I feel, like with the clothes or with things.
Yeah,
So
that
I think that that has been very interesting for me to recreate those things, and then, you know, to make. So fashion has always been very glamorous, and, you know, uh, things like it has been always shown as if we cannot touch them, or, you know, it's too glamorous. But I also want to see fashion as something that is like everyday, like something that we can do every day, you know?
right. Yeah, that's very interesting. Recreating your imagination, recreating the visions or the thoughts or what from your childhood, from your forays into the forest and nature. So that we see that in your work. That's very nice, Menti. Vijay, do you have anything to ask her?
No, nothing.
So
Amazing, but inspiring, Menti. I mean, that's see that experience of you being in the nature and all that, right? Also shapes a person better. That's what I personally feel, right? It's amazing that nothing more. I don't have anything, Mahesh.
all right. So yeah, we can for now, Shivani, if you would like to, the way we thought of doing this ceremony is that we will screen share the certificate. Menti, you will get it by mail in the next few days after both of us we print out and both of us sign it. And in due course you'll get it, and the grant award will be wired to your account in the next couple of days as well. So Shivani, would you like to just to screen share the award certificate so that uh, you know, that's the, so we are very happy, Vijay, both of
Thank
us
you so
are
much.
very happy to, uh, and you'll soon get this, Menti. Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you, Shivani. Yeah, so moving forward, Dinesh, Lena is not here, I guess, but Dinesh, you have now judged two grants, 2020 and 2021. Uh, can you just share your experience of looking at all these people, their work, and then, of course, your thoughts on Menti's work? Dinesh. Dinesh, you're on mute. Dinesh, you're on mute.
Oh, life is go on by. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I remember seeing this meme a few months ago, that the two of the three most important questions asked by humanity today is, can you see me? Can you hear me? And that is something which, in a way, when Wendy was talking about her influences in her life, how wonderful, not having to wonder about, can I be heard, can I be seen, but to be out there and just live so naturally. And I feel really bad for you, the fact that you've been stuck in Delhi for the last 2 years. That sounds like some kind of a punishment. So hopefully this award is one little ray of, goodness which has happened to you for the last couple of years of being stuck in the urban city. But before I go on to about the grant and about Nifty and about photography, thank you, Mahesh, and thank you, Vijay. It really is, for me, an honor and a privilege to be involved with this. And more so because I really, having been involved with photography for the last almost 40 years and through Delhi Photo Festival and Serendipity, etc., with the work of other photographers and with photography as a larger community, one of the things which I've always felt has been, very seriously and unfortunately lacking in India is the sheer support for people who have a desire to do photography, who have a desire to have a voice, who have a desire to express. And, and that's something which, for instance, Prashant and I used to talk about when we were starting out another foundation, that, photography is actually made our lives. Our lives have been about photography, and we want to give back to photography. And our way of doing that, of course, was through another foundation, the Delhi Photo Festival, etc. And that is, I know that this is Mahesh's way of, in a way, repaying the debt to photography as an art form. And what Vijay was, very beautifully explaining the entire journey of, and I think, and what I really respected and appreciated about what Vijay was talking about is that he's looked at the hardware, but he's seen the heart in the hardware. And what I find, at times missing in, and I've had a bit of this discussion with here in another forum, is the thing about, I'm an artist, therefore I'm only heart. I'm sorry. Your heart can only beat if it beats in a container, your heart can only beat for photography or for the visual or for your expression if you're able to capture it and then share it. And, it goes beyond just the fact that, I am so creative or I am so expressive, etc. So that really, Vijay, it's and I respect the fact that you don't feel shy about it, because people feel shy about that, and we have to break that. We have to say that, look, photography or any art form, it's just like my wife's dancer. She takes her gungrus as seriously as she takes the teen tal, and why shouldn't she? The very rope which holds her gungrus together are as important to her, because she doesn't want them to break in a performance on the stage. So you have to understand and respect all that goes into, putting your art form together for you and for being able to share. So I think that's where I come from, and this is what I've learned about photography. One of the first things I told Mahesh is that, why does there have to be only one grant? Why can't they be? I mean, this is so unfair that you say, here are the nominees and now, choose one. One thing I want to make very clear, which is been my approach to the grant, in this case and a couple of others which I've been involved with, is that these are not awards. These are rewards. And in my head, there's a very clear distinction. Award is something which, you compete to win. But reward is something you get because of what you do. It's actually, as far as I'm concerned, we are honored that Menti is accepting it. We are not honoring Minty by giving her a grant, all right? And that's a very subtle but a very distinctive, difference in my mind about what this entire thing is about. And it's. May I go on? I'm sorry, Mahesh, I did tell you I'd speak for a minute, but you give me a stage and I keep talking. Oops. But in the last 10, 15 days, especially, and of course, over the last year and a half of being involved with various, Zoom presentations, or this new clubhouse which has just come in, and I have been kind of spying on, various groups who've been talking about photography and their aspirations and their worries and, and what they would want to do. Raj also does the same. He and I are pretty slimy in this way. He also lurks around in, various rooms to listen to what's going on. But the reason for that for me is that, I want to understand, so where is photography? Where is it at the moment? I don't even know where it's going. Actually, honestly, I'm not even worried about where it's going. I have no idea. I don't know where the world is going. Where, am I going to wonder about where photography is going? But I would want to know what is happening today. And which is where then I come back to people like Minty and the other three grantees, the nominees in this case, is that for me, it's their interaction with themselves as individuals and the honesty with which they use that interaction with themselves and the world around them. For me, that's it. It's just not about photography. It's not about the camera. It's not about the photographs they take. It's about, this is me, and can I share this with you? And that is what I really like about her work and her images, which I've only seen on Instagram. And I very deliberately, and I told Mahesh that, no, I don't want to see more. I just want to see what she is putting out as a public face, right? Because you validate yourself by saying, this is the work which represents my vision or my heart or my emotion or whatever it might be. And to me, that actually, in a way, is the most honest. It might be something which is wrong. You might not make the right choice about what photographs to put out. You might not make the right choices about the kind of genre or the kind of subject, etc. But the honesty lies in the fact that you put it out, even if it's by mistake. So, that's why I didn't want to even look at anything else except what she had put forward on her own. So that's, for me, what it's about. Indeed, it was nice to know that, you have been involved and you lived in another part of my country. We share that. I must admit, for me, it's also very important that there's been lack of representation in various areas in photography and the art world. And any chance I get, I owe it, I feel, to whoever I think is underrepresented to put their case forward. All right. I am very hesitant about saying this because I don't want to be misinterpreted as this is kind of a favor which is being done. No. With all things equal, all right. But when given an opportunity to me for being someone who can be on a panel for a grant or for an award or for a reward, or being part of a photo festival, etc., there are certain considerations you have to take in mind which have to do with the larger society and the way it is. And that I have always felt is extremely important. And I will be the first one to admit it colors to some extent my final decisions. So thank you very much. Indeed, congratulations. Thank you everyone else who's over here. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on this. Thank you.
Mahesh, I just wanted to, Dinesh, I really, it's rightly put up. It's a reward. It's not an award. Beautifully said, and it is true that, right? And like you said, yes, I think it is time. I think I have to be talking to Mahesh also that we should increase the number of nominees and the grants that should be given to people. We are surely working towards it, and I really thank Mahesh again. Mahesh, please, sorry.
No problem at all. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you. And as we go forward, I'd like to take the conversation to Sudhir. Sudhir, do you have anything to ask Menti as before you and I start talking, Sudhir?
I think that's about it. I mean, I've heard what Minty is saying, and I understand the background she comes from. But what did you mean? You mean to?
I mean, do you have anything to? Otherwise, we can discuss.
Okay, I just felt that it is important to understand that for Minty, it is the way forward and into the future, the long path. We can give awards, rewards, everything fine, but we got to understand that there is going to be another 10 years of Minty, another 20 years of Minty, and another 30 years, and the path of the documentary is not that easy. Okay, so we all know that. Okay. Therefore, it is critical that you also look at the path of the fashion photography that you're doing, see where you can see that there is some kind of commercial success. You also must examine in a very harshly to yourself whether this lyrical stuff will work with advertising work or your own specialty that you emote, that you personify, and how they work with the editorial stuff, which is what I see this fitting in. But editorial, again, doesn't earn, because at the end of the day, your progress is also about earning, not just about art. Everybody, Leonardo had the same problem. He dashed across, to, why did he go to Milan and then to France? Why he ran away from Michelangelo? And you look at stories right through. And the same thing with when Kappa told this guy, they were all members, Katya Prasan and Kappa, when they met in France, and they were all members of Magnum. And he told them that if you're looking to continue being a surrealist artist, to Katya, because Katya was a surrealist artist before he went into photography and got his Leica and so on, it's not going to work. So don't even mention it. Don't even mention that they're going to shoot photography in a surreal form, which is also what he does in sometimes. So Elliot also, I've spoken to Katya, and as Elliot, of course, I met him several times in his house. I'm just telling you, these are guys who spent half a century and are still 91 years old, still going on. Okay, they are people who also went through the same struggles. We are all, the group has been talking about Steve, but I'm very close to Steve. I stayed with him in his house. His assistant was my house, stayed with me for 3 years and so on. And it's not easy. They're all dog fight dog, and that's your world that you're entering now. But it's a fantastic world, because that's how you create your art. It's best to start from the bottom and struggle, because that is how artists struggle, as you would have seen in any autobiography, because through that biography, you are going to know your biography. And that's fantastic. But their success will not be along the same, because there's a continuous shift in goalposts. So post the pandemic, what is the way you're going to go ahead? That is the time when processes have to come in, the startup world. Understand what it is value, the value creation, what do you need for you? You understand? So how does this positioning work? How do you differentiate something from the next one? Because that is going to be everything you do, whether it's documentary or it is fashion. Now, in terms of documentary, I'm quite close to Karen Kosmowski. Now, she has done 24 full-time National Geographic articles. You know why she's successful? She started with nothing, almost your beginning. But she's successful because she trucked in with her husband. Later, she met him, Bill Totet, who is with National Geographic. And he is a hardcore research writer and submission for grants and submission for. So whatever the hundreds and thousands they have earned is all because she had someone to walk the same path and someone who can help her become not just multi-hyphenate. You know what's multi-hyphen? Many hyphens. I'm also this. Multi-potentialite. She could see the potential of what she's doing through the eyes of Bill. So together they made this 24 stories, and she's the only one in Geographic. And there are not many people who have actually gone to the headquarters like I have. I've seen it. And the ones to judge you are not the photographers. The ones to judge you are the senior editors, the top level guys. They're the ones who decide why you work or why the magazine didn't have the 13 million subscription. These are things which you're entering into, and please be open. It's fantastic. Be open to all this and go crazy asking for it. You understand? Asking for that areas. what was photography in terms of airport photographer, Mithar Bedi, to in terms of industrial, Mithar N. Krishnan, then in terms of advertising work, then in terms of photojournalism started fading off. Then in today's wedding, that is also going to fade off. But it's going to be the time for conceptual photographers who can think strategy, who can think all this what I enumerated. So I can guide you there if you need help in how you should go. I'm doing it because you're an awardee, but I'm just saying that it is important to be realistic and see how you can work out these strategic maps. It is a 7-day session I had with Karen Kosmowski in Rockport, Maine. And on the third day, I stopped it. And I said, Bill, I want you to talk for the next 2 days for my entire team to know how you submit proposals in the National Geographic. Now there you're making sense. You're not just an artist. You understand? You're an artist who's doing the thinking also. And you're going to become almost a polymath like our Da Vinci. So you got to look at how each one of these artists and how they are planned and how they are thought and how they earn to sustain their art. So that's all that matters. I don't know. You must have seen in the one which comes now in Sony Live, Leonardo, the new series, the most watched in UK and so on. Look at the way he has given up everything for his art, but he had to become a theater and become a monkey there and create sets for the Duke. He also had to create the horse, which was removed and used for battleware. He had to use it for multiple things before he made Last Supper. And then he carried Mona Lisa because it never gets over. And he carried for 17 years. So when I look at all that, the competition between him and Michelangelo is everything is going to be your life. Everything is my life now. And I'm having a fab time. You understand? As I talk to my students and so on. So go beyond being just a photographer, beyond being just what I saw, because I see that same art in you. I see the possibility of someone who has been through that. You're not uneducated, unelected, just jumped in. You made an informed decision. Understand each one. Understand, Katya, what the hell did he mean by decisive moment? What was he before the decisive moment? What was he after? And then we'll talk why I created the decided moment and changed my whole kind of photography based on this. So I took on each photographer. Even in my group, when I hear somebody talks about Hans Nielemann, and who was talking, and somebody was mentioning him in the Nation's post, I immediately created a whole 6-page document on him, on why I disagree, for me to learn. You understand? Like painting, I made a 20-page document, why I disagree. I'm not here to fight with anyone, but I'm very particular that my art and my style should develop. The last part is the inner development of the spiritual sense. You have to learn, and I'm sure you know, but I sense a bit of quite some in you, the concept of dynamic meditation. When you're shooting in 3 seconds, what do you do? How do you get out into alpha and how do you get out and create that picture? How do you have the belief that it will happen so I don't have to worry? So I get calls like today, I had to make an experience center in Mangalore. Yeah, I'll do it. It's a huge project, multiple zeros. Okay, 4 or 5 times, which are not my genre, which I've done the last few months. But how? Because first of all, I bring in that core belief. That has to enter into you, and you have to decide. That all will come in this deep meditations and deep thought. The only difference between a photographer who is not doing so well, who is in the doldrums, who is mediocre. We have to say mediocre because whether people like it or not, no. But those who are the success rate, not in terms of finance, but fulfillment, internal fulfillment, are the ones who have treaded that part of dynamic meditation. Was understood. Let me get into the struck out. Okay, things sorted out. This is what I will do. That will give you the energy. That will give you the method of vibrating your energy to what Ivan author used to tell in the many years ago, transmigration of the soul. You're transmigrating into the customer, getting it into you and becoming the customer and making customer-centric thing, which has to work. So clients with you during pandemic or any situation, they'll come to you 30 years later, 40 years later, but they'll never forget you. So you'll always be busy. How do you do that? Now, having gone through the academic curriculum, as you have mentioned, and that's why I thought I'll speak about all this, because it is important to understand this. And it gives you that double platform. That's all I'm saying. You've got a platform of both sensitivity of nuances that you're able to create that touches people and create an inspiration, aspiration, creates an enriching experience just looking at your visuals. You can bring that, but how do you connect with somebody and make that work so that you're not underrated, you're not undersold? Somebody else dare not say, I cannot pay you. They bloody pay because you're that good. That's your self-esteem. And that is the power I'm talking about. That's the frequency you got to vibrate. When they see you, they should know. It should hit them. You're an artist. Why not? That's the beauty about being an artist. So anyways, I'm so happy to have met you. I think there is a calmness and peace within you. And I'm sure there is an aggressiveness also. And of course, there is always uncertainty. That's all of us. Nobody is different. But that's what is going to make you successful. So take this grant as a first step. You know, the Eugene Smith grant, I've gone through all of them, the Getty grant. I got myself also from my teams, 20 years back, 30 years back when I was working in New York. So multiple grants, even Amanda got it, was Steve's assistant, the girl who worked with me for 3 years, stayed at home. So we knew how everything works. These are things in the first step. Then I start working on the second grant, the third grant. The point is, people give only $1,000. This guy is giving you a little more. That's awesome. You understand? The first level with any, you look at all the grants, that emerging artists and so on. So this is fantastic. But what he's promising now and his intent, which is put out in the universe, is that he's looking at more grants, looking at that. But these things work. When the mentee, when the awardee succeeds and keeps us informed, when you are also decided, I'll go through a process and I will connect with the client in a process. Like I have a process called Rukubu, RUKUBU, reach you, know you, be you, buy you, and it works. So that's my process. But then I have another process which is aligning continuously. People call it iterating the process. I know. I align the brand, which means I'm quite clear. Come out with such processes. Just think there's a huge world like this out there. There's a huge world. You're just not even touched. You're not yet anywhere. And that's beautiful because somebody like you, like me, who's going to finish 50 years next year, is telling you, I'm not even touched. I know nothing. If I can say it, I think you should. You understand? So whenever we meet, I'm going to be tough on you because I want to see you succeed. Okay, Vijay, thank you. Awesome. And Mahesh, thank you so much. I think this will not have happened. We have to make this beyond. We have to make it international. We have to see that all this happens. And I'm sure with Vijay at the back and everyone here with the blessing, Dinesh too. Thanks, Dinesh. And I'm sure this is going to work.
Thanks, Sudhir. Thanks for your words. That's interesting. Sudhir and I, we go way back from 1989 onwards. We've been doing things, a lot for photography, different things, and it's a long story. There's no time right now to go. It started with Advertising and Industrial Photographers Association. We did workshops called New School, several series, a lot of things, a lot of interesting times, several years of work together. That's why Sudhir is there. I call Sudhir to all whenever I do these kind of things, I call him because he always supports me when I do something for photography, and I always learn something or the other from him. So that's just to give you an example. In '92, I went to the US to do some workshop, and I was like 25 years old at that time, 1992, and there was no way. I had no money, no nothing, no assets, not even married, prime candidate for migration, and I was sure I wouldn't get a visa. But I learned how to prepare the file for the visa. By the way, Sudhir used to prepare his everything, his client page and other things as we were working together, and which succeeded. Everything had annexures and properly submitted. So I've been that's been a very interesting friendship that we have shared for years.
Mahesh,
And yeah,
just can't stop myself. Every time Sudhir comes on board and shares his thought process and his insights and his experiences, I think it's so energetic and really, I mean, he's talking about 50 years in the industry next year, and he still runs like a 30-year-old, and I'm really amazed. And every time I'm down and I really am in crossroads, Sudhir knows that I just pick up the call, and I all I need is about 15-20 minutes of my conversation with him, and everything changes. And that's how he is as a person. I mean, when I go to Bangalore and I try and schedule my appointments to meet people, and I go and sit with Shudhi, and I think the entire day goes. And I do not know how it even goes by, and the way he shares his experience. I'm telling you, it's people are blessed souls having known Shudhir all this while. And I really feel blessed. And thank you, Shudhir, for always being there
Thank you.
and wishing you long, long life. And I'm sure I've personally sent a few young artists, budding artists,
Yeah.
to spend some time with you, and all of them have the same thought process and opinion, and they really they keep thanking me even today. So really lovely, Shri. Thank you, and I really am able to relate to what you spoke, and I'm sure Menti can probably absorb what Shudhir spoke, and I think
I want her to reach that level. I don't have to take time. When I took the girl, Neha, who was housewife, who told me that she wants to be National Geographic in a party, and they all laughed. Mahesh knows her. I took her to Washington. I made Steve sit with me on a flight, and we went there. We took her to Magnum and got her admitted. There's a photograph of me, Magnum, with Steve and David Allen, Harvey, all of us chatting together. Why? Because I want a shortcut. What I couldn't do. I had to learn everything from zero. You understand? So the whole idea was how to give them a life. And in fact, in Bombay newspapers, it had come that I want to create more Nehas in the world. When I landed, the first interview I had, when I landed back from the US, my point is that, and especially women, I am very particular because I know the creative talent is so beyond. And that's why I don't want to lose that. So whatever time I have, whatever time, little bit or whatever, we don't know. But the point is, I don't want to lose that time. And that's why sometimes, I have to talk like this. I don't mean anything else.
thank you. Thank you, everybody. So, Menti, thanks and congratulations. Hope you grow from here, grow further, and do a lot more work. Both what you in any style that you like to do, a lot of fashion work that you like. A lot of I wish you, all of us wish you commercial success as well as a photographer. So. So that's about it for us for this evening, and thank you very much, all of you. And Menti, you will get the certificate soon. I think I may not have your postal address. If you could email it to me or WhatsApp it to me later, that would be great. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So Vijay, that's about it, I guess.
thank you so much. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Shudhir, for joining in and spending some time. It's so important, rather. And I think there are a lot of things that Menti can take back. And I'm sure wishing her all the best and a lot more success to come by. You have a long way to go, and wishing you the best, Menti. And I think my team will get in touch as well. I think probably they'll wire you the money, everything, and all the best. But stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Like, I don't speak much, but thank you so much for everything, for having me, and then for giving me this grant in a year like this. We didn't know that there would be another wave, there would be a second wave, and there would be lockdown again. And
Yeah.
so I think it's a big blessing for me that I got this grant in a year like this. And yeah, I'm hoping to use this grant like very productively. And then I think I've been for a very long time wanting to go back home and just maybe follow my father around.
Yeah.
And because I cannot stay there for a very long time, because I have to come back and then do more work even in Delhi. So for commercial work, like to sustain myself. So I would really like want to use this grant to like go home like every few months and then follow my father around, because he's also not getting younger. He's 74. Yeah, so thank you so much for this.
Inti is 2 years older to me.
Oh, we still go swimming. When I go home, we go swimming.
I come down with him.
Oh gosh.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I think Mahesh, you would agree this. I mean, Menti, anytime, I think, imagine this is a great platform and amazing for you. It's as an opportunity to know these amazing people here. Anytime, I think anytime you find a crossroads, like to Shudhir or please write to Dinesh, and I'm sure they're there. And of course, Mahesh is always there. So, please feel free and then take their help. It's very important. And it's a great opportunity. Not everybody gets this. Yeah.
Very overwhelmed. Thank you so much.
Welcome and congratulations and all the best.
Thank you.
I'm going to be following you on Instagram. I love Instagram and I love people who put their work there.
Thank you. Thank you then. Good evening. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.